Hey everybody, it's Jackie with Jackie's Recent Things. Today we're going to do a watermelon slice. This frame is from Dora. So the first thing we're going to have to do before we really get started is we're going to add the hanger. So what I did is I grabbed a 1.5 inch ribbon, and it doesn't have to be very long, but I'm going to go through the front. And you might have to grab something to help poke this through. Y'all know me, we're gonna grab the trusty old ice pick. It also helps if you cut it on an angle to get it through there. And then I'm going to just pull this through and make a knot, and that'll keep it from coming back through. Just like so. Now we're going to add a bow to this. So I'm going to leave this just a little bit long, and I'm going to cut this at a pretty good angle so it's easier for me to get through. As you can see, cutting it on a pretty good angle made it a whole lot easier to get through. And then we'll tie another knot. And that's going to be our hanger for this project. So what I've done is I've added 20 black pipe cleaners. I've spaced them out about 4 inches apart. Now I put these on a little bit different than you would normally put them on, because normally you would try to make your pipe cleaners even, but that is not what I did. I actually made one longer and one quite a bit shorter. The reason I did that is because later on we're going to use the pipe cleaner to look like watermelon seeds. So I said there's about 20 of them on here. There's 3 on the bottom, and then there's 5, 6, and 6 as you go up. The green ones on the outside, they're about 4 inches apart as well. We're going to start on the inside of this. So let's get the green pipe cleaners out of the way. And it doesn't matter if you start at the top or the bottom for this, because what we're going to use is we're going to use 10-inch mesh. And I'm using two different kinds. I'm using fabric mesh, and then I'm using a regular mesh with foil through it. And the reason I'm doing that is to create a texture on my watermelon. I thought it'd be pretty cool, because when you open up a watermelon, it's not all like the same color. So I thought using 2 different reds and 2 different textures would make it look a little bit more real. And simply what we're going to do is we're going to give this a little bit of roll, and that's to keep fray from coming along. And we're going to flip that around, and then we're going to ruffle that right up. So like I said, we're just doing that, giving it that roll to stop the fray. Then we're going to tie that in, and I'm going to go every other using my 2 different meshes. We're not laying these flat. We definitely want them to stand up, Because since all we're using is mesh, we're not going to add ribbon. We want them to stand up and really like smash into each other. And that was the other reason that I placed my ties 4 inches apart instead of 5. So I'm really trying to make sure that I give this a good roll and there's nothing that's sticking out. Kind of going to have to be particular doing this. See how that's sticking out? We don't want that. So when I was putting the pipe cleaners on, that's when I got the idea of, because you're going to have to cut the black pipe cleaner off, and that's when I got the idea of just using it instead of cutting pieces of felt to add the seeds. This is actually a really, really good project for those that do craft shows. Also, for those of you that have Etsy stores, this puts something in your shop that's at a different price point. So as you can tell, I'm making sure that I go in there and I'm going to stand my mesh up as I go. I forgot my clip. I got rolling along. That's okay. Almost did it again. You can add a cute little welcome sign to the center of this also. and not just have the plain watermelon slice. You can actually use this form also to make a rainbow. Those are pretty popular right now. The mesh will pack in more from the center as soon as we put the watermelon rind on. The other reason I chose to do it like this was not only to hide the fray, but to make it more tight. And for the texture, I didn't want to do a straight up ruffle. Because I wanted some real nice texture, because like I said, when you cut open a watermelon piece, your texture really isn't consistent. See how the black pipe cleaners are going to work out nicely without having to cut any felt out? See how that's packing in there nicely now. And I'm making sure to turn these because I don't want them sticking out. So there's a reason that I did this last, which you're getting ready to see, because we're last piece and we're going to put the rind on. I know it seems like, well, why didn't you do the rind first? Because that would seem like the easiest thing to do. But there's a reason. So let's get started on the rind. What I have here is some fabric mesh. It was left over from doing flowers, a couple projects that I did. And what we're going to do is we're going to gather this up. And we're going to tie into this pipe cleaner here first. We're just going to tie it in. Like so. And then to dam up our watermelon at the top, we don't really want it to be seen, so we're just going to go straight across. Because you don't see watermelon rind when you cut a slice like this. I'm going to come in here to make sure that this stays nice and tight. And I'm going to grab a pipe cleaner and tie that in. And I'm going to come down a little bit more. And I'm pulling this tight. I'm going to grab the pipe cleaner again, tie that in. Like I said, that's to dam this up so that the spirals and the ruffles aren't all over the place up here. So now we're actually going to start making our poofs. And we're going to make a very tight 10-inch poof. We're not going to fluff it out. So I'm really going to like wad this up and under. See how that's got a bump? I don't want that bump. Normally that wouldn't bother me. Almost went to my standard 12-inch. All right. This mesh is pretty snaggy, y'all. gonna go this way. It's just easier for me. I'm gonna cut this. I'm just gonna cut this. It's just easier for me. So that we can come back around. So I'm using the same ties, but I'm going to make sure that my poof goes between my last two poofs, the two poofs. So I'm going to grab that and I'm going to lay that down like so to fill it out. Y'all, that's some snagging mesh. Good mesh, but it snags. Now you can do this with regular ruffles if you want to. It might be easier for you. I just really wanted to do it with poofs. To give it a different texture, since I used ruffles for the watermelon. And you can actually do it in reverse too. You can use, you can do poofs here, ruffles there. You can do it however you want to do it. I'm going to start with a poof. Because I'm almost done anyway. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and I'm just going to rearrange these quite a bit to get them packed in. So I'm kind of twisting the poofs around. And then I'm going to cut the ties off at the same time. Keep in mind that pipe cleaners don't hold as well as regular tinsel ties, so you're going to have to spin these quite a bit more. You might even want to use zip ties. So now I'm going to come back in and fix my mesh, pull it up and out. Fluff it up so it's nice. And I'm going to take the black pipe cleaners and start making my seeds. So basically I'm just going to pull them and kind of spin it down a bit till it sticks out. So I'm just kind of like bending it to look like a seed. Just kind of rolling it up and then pinching it because the seed isn't a circle. I just kind of thought this might be a little bit better than cutting felt. Just to go ahead and use the ties since they're already there. Then you don't have to worry about cutting them out. Because either way, to add the seeds, it'll take a little bit of time, whether or not you're going to cut them out of felt and hot glue them on if you want bigger pieces of seeds. I didn't really, so. And I think it scatters the seeds out nicely. And then I didn't have to cut pipe cleaners off from putting the red on. Okay, so let's do our door, our hanger now. So here's the ribbons that I chose to do the hanger. Of course, watermelon ribbon, you can use whatever you want to use. But this is just to add a little something, so the bow does not have to be very big at all. I want mine to have a little bit of tail to it. So I'm just going to do about 6 inches. And then I'm going to do 2 loops so that I have a nice full bow. I just don't want it to be very wide. Got some nice, this is Harlequin ribbon, not diamond ribbon, it's Harlequin. The reason I can tell it's Harlequin is because it's an elongated diamond shape. Diamond ribbon is not elongated like that, it's just a square. Some people make big fancy bows, but this is a simple design, so I just wanted a nice simple bow. Nothing elaborate. So that's why I'm only using 3 ribbons as well. One of my favorite things about the Bow Genius, I forgot my pipe cleaner. So all I have to do is slide my ribbon up. So you want to make sure that this is tight as possible. That's the other reason I didn't use that many ribbons, because you want to tighten this up as much as possible. To attach it. Let me make sure I've got center here. And I'm just going to tie that on with the pipe cleaner. And then I'm going to take the pipe cleaner and the leftover, I'm going to just wrap it. And I'm going to wrap it to the right a little bit and then to the left a little bit to keep it center around the hanger material. And I wanted my bow to be part of it, so that's the other reason I didn't make my hanger very long. I didn't want it sticking way up and dangling down. So that's a two-taste thing. You can make your hanger longer if you want to. That's totally up to you. That around so you can get a good look. And there you have it. So this is one of the ways that you can do the watermelon slices from Dora. And like I said, you can do this. You can do poofs on the inside and ruffles on the outside for the rind. You can make your hanger a little bit longer if that's what you want. You have, several options, different combinations that you can do. You can do all of this in ruffle, but if you're going to do the outside ruffle, do it very tight. I would recommend putting your pipe cleaners every 3 inches so that your rind is very tight and holds its shape. So thank y'all for joining me. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Bye, y'all.